Hi, this is Rodney McGee. I'm here to talk to you about a Thomas Robert Anderson, a man that was murdered in Charlotte County Jail in Medical Pod C Block. He was behind glass 3 doors down. I was in like cell 18, I believe, cell 9 maybe, by the showers. I witnessed the whole thing. He came in and he was screaming about chest pains and hollering and making a whole bunch of noise begging for help. Rogers and his partner went in, told him to calm down. He kept hollering about chest pains. They went in, they tased him, they sprayed him. They washed him up, put him back in his cell. He still kept complaining about chest pains. So they put him in the restraint chair. This whole time he hollered and hollered and hollered for about 2 hours, saying he was having a heart attack. All of a sudden he stopped complaining, stopped hollering. At around 4 o'clock, they pulled him out of the chair, and his feet were black. He done peed himself. He done soiled himself. His lips were blue. He was dead. I yelled to everybody at the pod to pay attention to the time, because they were going to try to revive him with the paddles. They hit him with the paddles a couple times, but like I said, he already soiled himself, so he was dead. He's been dead for hours. And it's all due to the negligence of the sheriff's department and its COs. And when I started hollering for people to pay attention at the clock and what time and all this, and the fact he's been soiled, Sergeant Sesko told me flat out if I didn't shut up, I was going to be next, which I did not shut up. They just left me alone. But I'm here to say that the Charlotte County Sheriff's Department murdered this man. He was a 56, I believe, maybe 54, Vietnam vet. He was homeless and he was arrested for panhandling, holding a sign that says, "I love Jesus, please help." Simply because he held this sign, they murdered this man. They refused him medical treatment, and when he begged for medical treatment, they sprayed him, tased him. Then they cleaned him up, and he was still begging for medical treatment because of his chest pain. They turned around, they put him in a restraint chair until he died, and they left him there for 2 hours. Like I said, when they pulled him out, he had already soiled himself, pissed himself, his feet were black in color, and his lips were grayish blue. There was no need for the paddles. The paddles was all an act so the video cameras could show them trying to revive him. But if you would do a close-up at the video cameras, because Medical Wing has video, if you would do a close-up at the video cameras, you would see just what I seen. He already soiled himself, his feet were black, and his lips were grayish blue. His body, his chest cavity was already starting to bloat. As a matter of fact, they had to zip tie his hands over his belly when they put him in on the medical cart to take him to the ambulance, because he was so bloated that his hands would not stay on his belly. I did watch the whole thing, and it was a total act of murder upon our Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, William PRUMMELL, and his deputies. Thank you very much, Rodney McGee.
Exclusive, former inmates come out of hiding to expose multi-murder conspiracy by Florida jail. By Jack Burns. June 4, 2017. It is, quite possibly, the most disturbing story ever brought to our attention. Inmates, who were jailed in Florida's Charlotte County Jail, were so disturbed by what they saw and heard while jailed, they can no longer stay silent. According to their stories, a pattern of abuse and cover-up has emerged at Charlotte County, Florida's jail. The jail houses male and female inmates, who are kept segregated at all times, unless they need to see the jail's nurse in the medical wing. There, female and male inmates are held together in separate cells. Unfortunately, the jail has seen a rash of deaths occur inside the medical wing, as well as in the area where the general population is held. But when someone dies or is mistreated, the public rarely hears the whole story, just the side the jail wants to convey, according to those citizens who've witnessed the abuse firsthand. In 2013, Thomas Robert Andreessen, 48, a homeless panhandler, was arrested for begging in public and taken to jail. He had been in jail for a few days when he died of natural causes, according to the Charlotte Sun. The Sun reported he was found dead in his cell. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office told the Sun he became unruly at 4 a.m. and wouldn't calm down, so they put him in a restraining chair. By 10 a.m., corrections officers found him unresponsive and he was pronounced dead. But that's not the whole story, according to those who claim to have witnessed his death. They're now saying he was murdered. The jailers knew he had died, and only attempted to resuscitate him to prevent a possible investigation which would have led to murder charges being brought against them. Rodney McGee, a fellow inmate and self-proclaimed witness to the killing, said Andreessen began complaining of chest pains. Instead of getting him medical attention in the emergency room by a trained emergency room physician, McGee said the corrections officers came into his jail cell. C.O. Rogers and his partner went in, told him to calm down, but he kept hollering about chest pains. They went in, they tossed him, they sprayed him with pepper spray, they washed him up, put him back in his cell. He still kept complaining about chest pains, so they put him in the restraint chair. Image, http://pixel.watch/QT7. McGee said the hollering continued for about 2 more hours but eventually stopped. The fellow prisoner said he stopped screaming for help with his chest pains because he was already dead. McGee said he saw what happened next. The corrections officers came into his cell and removed him from his restraint chair. His feet were black, he'd done peed himself, he'd done soiled himself. His lips were blue. He was dead, McGee said in his online testimony of what happened to Andreessen. McGee said he began to shout out to his fellow cellmates to mark the date and time in their minds as they were witnesses to what they considered to be a murder. McGee said he was then threatened by a Sergeant Cisco, spelling unsure, that if he didn't shut up, you'll be next. It was considered a credible threat to McGee by a man who he considered had just murdered a fellow inmate by ignoring his pleas for help, choosing instead to taser and pepper spray the homeless man. Read more. Video shows cop attack and arrest innocent pregnant woman, for filming him. By this time, the officers knew Andreessen had died, but they brought out the resuscitation defibrillator anyway, and went through the motions of reviving a man who had been dead for hours, according to McGee. They murdered this man. They refused him medical treatment, and when he begged for medical treatment, they sprayed him, tossed him. Then they cleaned him up and he was still begging for medical treatment because of his chest pain. They turned around. They put him in a restraint chair until he died. And they left him there for 2 hours. Like I said, when they pulled him out, he'd already soiled himself, pissed himself, his feet were black in color and his lips were grayish blue. There was no need for the paddles. The paddles was all an act so the video cameras could show them trying to revive him. But if you would do a close-up of the video cameras, you would see just what I seen. I did watch the whole thing and it was a total act of murder. Andreessen was not the first person to die in the Charlotte County Jail, and he was not the last. The eyewitnesses to their deaths, the inmates, have remained silent. But no longer are they doing so. McGee isn't alone. Many of his fellow cellmates are now speaking out. And they're organized. The following is a first-hand account of the aftermath which documents the death of Greg T. Ireland, who was arrested for driving under the influence. According to the Herald Tribune, Ireland died in the medical wing of natural causes. Robert Tygros says the official story is complete crap and a cover-up happened. The Herald wrote, "A man died of natural causes while in the custody of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office this summer," the Sheriff's Office reports. According to a news release, Greg T. Ireland, 47, of Port Charlotte was arrested on a DUI charge August 22. On August 24 while in the Charlotte County Jail, Ireland was involved in a disturbance with another inmate and became combative with deputies who intervened, the Sheriff's Office reports. Ireland became unresponsive while being restrained and moved, the Sheriff's Office says. Life-saving efforts were attempted and he was taken to Bayfront Health Punta Gorda, where he died. Following an autopsy and investigation, the manner of Ireland's death was determined to be a result of natural causes, the Sheriff's Office reports. His father, apparently, had already bonded him out of jail and was waiting to pick up his son. 8 officers beat and tossed this man until he was injured to the point where he died, Rob Tygros said. Read more, deputy kills autistic man for disorderly conduct by smashing his skull. On August 24, 2015, I cleaned up a murder scene, said Tygros. People have died. People have gotten hurt. It's absolutely horrific what's going on in Charlotte County Jail, he said in a Facebook post. The officer that was probably one of the top leading instigators in the death of Brett Ireland was Officer Michael Burnett, the ex-inmate claims as he described yet another person who he says was murdered in the county's jail. Long before Greg Ireland was killed, they were torturing others in the medical wing of the jail, he said. Tygros said he realized the rest of the jail wasn't as bad as the medical wing because, as he said, in the medical wing they can get away with telling people you're crazy. They can take off their name badges and tell you a different name, so if you file a grievance they can say it wasn't them, because you're crazy and it wasn't their name. Tygros said he figured out a way to document the abuse by sneaking pens into the medical wing and record the abuses on paper spoons which he hid until he was able to get out of jail. I kept all this stuff documented and I carried it with me through the jail, he said, lamenting the fact he has not been able to get anyone to take his allegations of murder, abuse, and torture seriously. Tygros claims the corrections officers worked together, planning their defenses word for word so they could continue to get away with the abuses. Little did they know, Tygros said he wrote down everything they said so he could provide testimony about the alleged abuses going on in the jail. There was some stuff going on in the day but it wasn't as bad as some of the stuff that goes on at night, Tygros claimed. The former inmate said Ireland had been taken to jail on a felony DUI arrest. There was blood everywhere. There was taser wire all over the place. The first and second floor was just covered in blood and taser wire. I had absolutely no idea what I was walking into when I was going in there. I wasn't even supposed to be there because I was going to court that morning, he said, still traumatized by the scene. Tygros says he fears retaliation for speaking out but feels he must. I walk into the pod, medical pod C1. It was just how I described it. There was screaming from some of the cells about the officers being murderers. Some people were so scared they couldn't even come to the door to take their food. These people are out there. They know what happened, he said. Read more, police departments ignore rampant sexual assault by officers. I could see the blood stains from where they let his head hit the ground repeatedly as they drug him from the top floor down the stairs, and there was blood and hair in the stairs, he said. There was no call for it. There was none, he concluded. Speaking directly to Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Pummel, Tygros said, seriously, you got trained, quality, professional officers who are killing and torturing people. I know you got rid of Burnett, but there are others. And you know that. I know that. And now the whole rest of the community knows that, and you gotta start taking steps to stopping what's going on. Tygros contended corrections officer Michael Burnett was present at the time Tygros says Ireland was killed. He says Rogers and Burnett were serial abusers who often would yell and intimidate inmates into keeping quiet by forcing the inmates to move away from their cell windows so they would not see how they would treat other inmates. One example of the abuse happened to 57-year-old Mark Kopaszynski. According to NBC News 2, Burnett was fired for laughing at an inmate who was eating his own feces. But Ty Gross says the real story is that Burnett forced him to do so, a fact which Kopaszynski later relayed to reporters. Still speaking to Pummel, he said, "You gotta start taking steps to stopping what's going on. Because the officer you fired probably isn't going to stay in this area. He's probably going to go to another jail or another police department, and work somewhere else and do the same things again to somebody else's child, brother, father, and it's not cool anymore. It's gotta stop. It was never cool to begin with, but it's gotta stop." Ty Gross said being able to share the horrific story makes him feel a lot better. However, he feels like more must be done. He is calling on anyone and everyone who will listen to his story. Ty Gross wants to see change happen in hiring processes so the abuses will cease. He added the problem isn't limited to Charlotte County Jail. He says the deaths and abuse are systemic in that, a lot of the guards transfer between the county facility and the state prison. As the Bradenton Herald reported, there have been at least 7 criminal investigations into unexplainable deaths at Charlotte Correctional Institution in Punta Gorda, a facility to which fired officers transfer to, according to Ty Gross. We at the Free Thought Project are in touch with a few other former inmates who say they saw Ireland die and can no longer remain silent. Their stories will be reported in a follow-up to our story.
Hello, my name is Robert Tigro. On August 24th, 2015, I cleaned up a murder scene inside the Charlotte County Jail in the medical wing of the jail. I had been to Charlotte County Jail on a couple separate occasions for misdemeanor charges, and months precipitating the murder, I filed a grievance on the 1st of October 2014. I am requesting to speak to someone about filing grievances against deputies for being a witness to unlawful acts and acts that are in direct violation of Florida model jail standards, as well as procedural policy of this institution. When I got this inmate request back, I was told that you need to provide names, dates, times of violations in writing. You have documented this, you will be interviewed. I never filled anything out, and that's part of the reason why I'm here today. People have died, people have gotten hurt, and it's absolutely horrific of what's going on inside Charlotte County Jail, as well as other jails around the nation. There's a lot here, so bear with me, guys. I know you guys all have questions and comments and want to have something to say. The violations in the jail are just so numerous that I can't even get into them all. I'm hoping that one day the people who I need to talk to will come and find me. This is why I'm making this video. I want everybody to know that for the last couple years of my life, I haven't just been hanging around and wasting time. I've been trying to help people, and get them to the point where they can talk about some of this stuff too. The officer that was probably one of the top leading instigators in the death of Greg Ireland was an officer by the name of Burnett, Michael Burnett. I've had instances with him and other officers. I have about 40-something pages here of very, very detailed writing, times, dates, names. It's all in very small print. Alright, all of this I would like to go over with somebody. All of it. Now, before Greg Ireland was killed, long before Greg Ireland was killed, they were torturing others in the medical wing of the jail. It was so bad that when they took me out of the medical wing of the jail and put me in general population, I realized that the rest of the jail wasn't as bad as the medical wing. In the medical wing, they can get away with telling people you're crazy. They can take off their name badges and tell you a different name. So if you file a grievance, they can say it wasn't them because you're crazy and it wasn't your name that they filed it. So I snuck pens inside my socks and told them that I was having thoughts of suicide. I didn't even say suicide, but that's all I had to say. And they took me back to the medical part of the jail. When they put me inside the cell, I took off my clothes and shook out the socks, and I kept the pens. And there was a camera in the cell, and I literally had to hide from the camera and the officers while I was keeping these pieces of paper, which these pieces of paper are spoons that they give you to eat off of when you're in a turtle suit or on suicide watch, or direct observation is what they like to call it. And these paper spoons is what I wrote on while I was in there, and I had to hide them until I got out, which was like a week the second time. I kept all this stuff documented, and I carried it with me through the jail. I did other things. I tried getting letters out to people. Lawyers and newspaper writers. I tried sending them to my public defender and legal mail so nobody could see them. And I tried getting the word out to so many people over the past couple of years, and it's just not working, and that's why I am here. It's really a crazy long story. There are other people involved. There are other people that I'm protecting. There is so much going on in the world all around us that we really don't even pay attention to, and it's time to start paying attention, because there's a lot of people hurting out there, and there's a lot of people that really can't trust the police because they've seen what the police do. And I know there's a lot of people out there that tell me all cops aren't bad, and you know what? I would love for a good cop to prove that to me by coming forward and talking about a bad cop, because really it's the only way that anybody's ever going to prove it to me, because it's just that bad. Really, it's bad, people. So in the months that I was documenting all of this stuff, I witnessed behavior on the parts of law enforcement and administrators inside the jail. I witnessed how they cleaned up before inspections. I saw how they changed statements and they worked together to falsify their reports to justify what they did. It's all in my documentation, and I wrote it all down, what I heard them saying word for word, so that one day I could prove to you what I am telling you, because if I didn't hear them planning this out word for word, I would have absolutely no idea as to what those reports say. So I'm trying to give everybody a basis as to what's going on in Charlotte County. There is going to be several videos probably. I have so many stories to tell, and I just can't really hang on to these stories no more, because it's keeping me from being a better person and being who I am. And there's a lot of people suffering out there because they don't know what happened to their family members. The father of Greg Ireland, I feel so horrible for you. So horrible for you. And I wish there was something that I could have done or said to him. I handed the tray with the food, the last bologna sandwich that your son ate before they killed him. It was quiet in there that day. It was relatively peaceful. No, I can't even say that. There was some stuff going on during the day, but it wasn't as bad as some of the stuff that goes on at night. And I know, from what I understand, you were in the jail waiting there to pick up your son. Your son was there on a DUI. It was a $500 bond, and from what I understood, you were in the jail waiting for him to come out the doors when you were told that he was going to a hospital. I wasn't in the cell block that night, but I could see in the scene when I went in to work in the medical wing the next day, there was blood everywhere. Everywhere there was blood. There was taser wire all over the place. The first and second floor were just covered in blood and taser wire and latex gloves, and I had absolutely no idea what I was walking into when I was going there. And I wasn't even supposed to be there because I was supposed to be going to court that morning. Bear with me, guys. There's a lot of people out there that are going to need help. They're going to need support. I mean, I've never really been so much worried about me as I have been about everybody else that's involved in this, because they're doing good now, but they were in bad shape before, and they're going to need your help. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I walk into the pod, medical pod, C1 is what they called it, and it was just how I described, with the blood and the gloves and the oxygen tanks and the taser wires everywhere. There was screaming from some of the cells about the officers being murderers. There was probably, I want to say, anywhere from 45 to 55, 56 people in the pod that night. Some people were so scared they couldn't even come to the door to take their food. And these people are out there, and they know what happened. I was in there for a short period in the morning, and then I left. But as I was in there, I could see the blood stains from where they let his head hit the ground repeatedly as they drug him from the top floor down the stairs, and there was blood and hair in the stairs, and there was no call for it. There was none. In my paperwork that I have written about the abuses, there is so many instances where one of your trained officers, Bill, this is for you, Bill Prummell, this is for you. Seriously, you got trained, quality, professional officers who are killing and torturing people. I know you got rid of Burnett, but there are others. And you know that, and I know that, and now the whole rest of the community knows that, and you got to start taking steps to stopping what's going on, because the officer that you fired probably isn't going to stay in this area. He's probably going to go to another jail or another police department and work somewhere else and do the same thing again to somebody else's child, brother, father, and it's not cool anymore. It's got to stop. It was never cool to begin with, but it's got to stop. So that's what this is. All you guys watching, you know who I am. Some of you guys know my story, some of you guys don't. But this is what I've been doing for the last couple of years. If you guys got any questions, my phone keeps telling me it's overheating. Is there anything that you guys need to say? I'm going to be posting this video online. I'm going to put pictures in the comments with some of my information that I have for you. You guys really got to share this and tell people about it, because it's not right. There was one man in a cell who was in there for a DUI. His father was in the jail, paid his bond, waiting to pick him up. And 8 officers beat and tased this man until he was injured to the point where he died. And there was no call for any of it. None. None. And the whole actions that happened that night, everything that happened that night was just wrong. There's people that can tell you, that are here today, that can tell you that we were actually praying for the people in the medical wing of the jail the night that they killed them, because we knew how bad it was in the medical wing of the jail. I feel a lot better telling you guys this. I really do. I know it's probably upsetting some of you, and I know a lot of you guys might be worried about me or something of that. I'm usually pretty good. For the law enforcement out there, you guys hear my name. My name is Robert Tigro. I won't be cuffing up for none of you for no reason, no how. I won't give you a reason to hurt me. I don't carry any weapons. And that's it. I'm going to be waiting for investigators and people from the news media who want to talk about this, who want to fix this problem that we have in not only Charlotte County, but other communities across the country. And we really need to change the jails. We need to change the hiring policy for some of the officers. We got rid of the corruption. It's just such a bogus bullshit thing to wake up and be in fear of law enforcement and the rest of the people in your community that don't even know why you don't like cops. So just bear with me and expect to see more. I'm going to be trying to make a video every day about a story. I'll pick one out. There are so many stories. There was a woman that they used to torture. They used to strap her into a chair. The one day they strapped her into the chair they knew she was being released from the jail, and they wanted to strap her into the chair, and they strapped her into the chair, and they tightened the belt so tight, and the woman still sang. She sang, and it really rocked the whole block of the jail. She sang "Stand By Me." Those of you out there know who she is. God bless you. I hope you're still singing. There are so many people that I've tried to help along the way. Some of them I couldn't help. Some people died, and it kills me. And there are so many stories that are wrapped up in all of this, and it's going to take a minute for it to get out. So that's all I can talk about for right now. So just, I love you guys. Just tell everybody it's got to stop, and they should have expected this a long time ago. They really should. I mean, I'm going to go into great detail in the later videos, but it needs to stop. I love you guys. Just take care of yourselves and be good to one another.
Into law enforcement nowadays. And it's a nationwide trend. I've talked to sheriffs and police chiefs not only in the state but around the nation, and they're having problems hiring. We got a couple things working against us. Number one is when the economy is turning around, when it's doing well, a lot of people will go into the private sector because yes, you can make more money up front. And then secondly, everybody knows the anti-law enforcement sentiment that's been going on. So a lot of people aren't rushing into this profession. So we have that growth that we're trying to really... Yes?
Yes, I have two questions. Do you believe in free speech and the Constitution on your government-ran Facebook page?
Mr. Sheets, you know why you were banned. We have rules. You did not follow the rules.
All right.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I have an easy question. In Florida, can a consumer buy Narcan at a pharmacy? I know in other parts of the country they've allowed...
I don't think you can yet in Florida, but I believe, if I remember correctly, there is a bill up in Tallahassee right now. So they're trying to get it passed.
Thank you.
So, yes?
Sheriff, why was this citizen banned from your Facebook website? What's that all about?
He didn't follow the rules.
What rules did he break?
They're posted on our Facebook page. You're more than welcome to read it.
You wouldn't be able to
Anybody
share
else?
With us? You wouldn't be able to share with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, my question was not...
I'm talking to her. Yes, ma'am.
I asked you a question. You work for me, sir.
I don't work for you. Ma'am.
Yes, you do. Why did you ban this citizen?
Ma'am, what's your question?
You can't answer the question, Sheriff?
I think it's been asked and answered.
Why is it, your department is supposed to be keeping the peace, taking care of whatever. It doesn't seem right to me that you also have to take care of those who are mentally ill and those who are drug addicts. Why don't they open up a facility? I mean, you're going to have to hire more staff, and where are you going to put all these people? You said 60% between the...
Yeah,
that doesn't make
that's
sense.
what I'm telling you. That's been the question. Like I said, when the government can't seem to come up with answers, they push it off on us, and then it's up to us to try and figure it out.
Well, that's not right.
Yes, sir.
I noticed this past year, I haven't seen much in the paper about roadhouses, as far as finding roadhouses and shutting them down. Is that still a problem?
It's decreased a lot, and that's basically because some of the legalization that's been going on in other states. We are seeing a lot of it being imported from these other states. Right now, you know who your biggest trafficker is in drugs? The United States Postal Service.
Just a follow-up question. What about meth? How do you find meth operations?
Just a lot of good investigation. We get some tip work and all that stuff. So.
Especially for building it.
Yeah, they are very explosive. You got to be very careful with them. We do have some people on our staff that are specially trained to take them apart because they are very, very explosive. Ma'am, you had a question?
Oh yeah, to follow
a Hispanic person were in an accident, can you speak just a little louder, please? We can really hear you. If a Hispanic person, appearing person, were in an accident, it was clearly not their fault. Are you telling me that there would be no reason then that you would contact ICE?
No, I don't. We don't.
You don't what?
We don't contact ICE on that.
But I'll talk to you after.
Okay. Because remember, right now we don't have the, it's the federal government's responsibility, and also they have jurisdiction over immigration. We as local law enforcement do not. So when we take somebody in on a local crime, local charges, we have custody of them and we will notify ICE. But yeah, I'll talk to you afterwards because I don't know what you're talking about.
Sheriff, I'd like to ask you another question.
No, sir. Anybody else?
My family and members of this crowd have went to war defending freedom and the right to
And I thank you for your service. Yes,
We'd
ma'am.
like you to answer the question.
My husband and I are snowbirds, and we're down here 6, 7, 8 months. We love it here, and we're very grateful to have a police station right in Inglewood now. Anyway, we're over in Rotunda, on Rotunda Circle, and we noticed last year, I think the speed limits were like 30, and now we came back this year, and I can't remember. Just when they were changed to 35, so now it's 35.
Yeah, that is up to the county. They set the speed limits. We don't. They usually come out and they have their engineers do studies with traffic and speed, and then they determine the proper speed. Because I also notice on Boundary they lowered the speed limit.
To 30.
Yes, that used to be 45.
Over on Candy Road, not too close, and I noticed at this road, that same thing, it's 30 miles an hour there, but I wondered why it was 30 there and 35 on our side, but if you don't have anything to do with it.
No, I don't have anything to do that. We don't set it. We just enforce it.
How do we do as citizens in our
You can reach out. You can reach out to your county commissioner. I don't know if you guys ever have Bill speak to you guys.
Bill Truex?
Yeah, Bill Truex will come and speak to your group, but you can reach out to him individually, or you can invite him to one of these sessions like he did me, and ask him to kind of give you an overview of the county and also voice your concerns. But either way, you can contact his office or.
Because our road is so narrow, and there are no
there's no sidewalks over there.
There's no place to walk. We do walk on the roads, but I mean we have to get off sometimes and let the traffic pass and so on.
So I never noticed they raised Rotunda Circle to 35 from 30.
They go 50, 60 through there. All the other
Okay. Well, I know we've been getting a lot of complaints of speeders over there, and I know Chris has been having his staff out there as much as we can. That's one of the biggest complaints we get countywide is regard to traffic. So.
Who's Chris?
I'm sorry, Lieutenant Williams.
Oh, because Rotunda West, I mean, this has been going on for years. We'll advise you to call the police. So I don't think Truex is involved at all. I mean, give me a story. Find out. He's not going to.
Well, when it comes to setting the speed limits, that is the county function. I have nothing to do with that. Now, I can make some recommendations to them, but they are going to do their studies and side with what their engineer says.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we are advised to call the police.
There's speeders, yes.
Well, yeah, with the speeders, you're absolutely right. That's what they're going to say, because that's what we do. We have to enforce that. So, yeah. No, and he will tell you that. Anybody else?
You have a question in the back. What are you afraid of, Sheriff? Why can't you answer all citizens?
All I'm going to ask is about intelligence of policing, that's all.
Here's the venue. American Legion Hall, people died and bled for free speech, and he's trying to restrict
Correct.
it. Please. Wake up,
He
people.
answered the question.
He
He
has
didn't like his answer.
No, he works for us. He is supposed to answer all questions.
I'm asking about intelligence policing. What are you using for software and hardware?
Yeah, why don't you be civil, Sheriff, and answer the question? Why did you ban a citizen?
Drop it.
What are you afraid of, Sheriff?
Follow the directions, I'll say.
Who's got your tongue?
Intelligence policing. What are you using for software and hardware? That's all I'm asking.
We've got a lot of different
No, I'm
programs.
having it right here in this public meeting.
That's all I'm asking.
Try to force me
That's
out.
all I'm asking.
This is rude. You and he together is rude.
Yeah, and you're all on video.
This is supposed to be
denying
America.
Free speech.
So sue me.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
We thank you. I'm Al Becker, President of Neighborhood Watch. I appreciate you all coming. I'm sure that some of you might have some additional questions. The sheriff might be around for a few minutes afterwards, but there are some refreshments in the back, and stay around and enjoy the refreshments. And thank you all for coming.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. American
Be ashamed of yourself.
Please do.
I'm not going to tell you.
No free speech.
The agenda is free speech. Transparency in government. If a government official won't answer a question, why they ban a citizen, something's wrong. You got free speech.
That's not it.
Freedom.
That is not it.
Freedom. Have you ever heard of freedom?
I understand freedom. What's the freedom about?
This gentleman over here has been banned from posting on the Facebook page of Charlotte County Government Sheriff's Department.
Is he in violation of the rules?
I wanted to know. The sheriff refused to answer.
It's none of
That
our
was the
business.
question. Well, why wouldn't he answer the question? What's so difficult about the question?
What did you do on Facebook? What's the agenda? What is the problem?
We're in American Legion Hall. These men have died and bled for free speech.
I mean,
you
you
people
obviously
trampled on.
Did you even serve? You don't look like a couple of Germans. There's nothing better to do in your time.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done... Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
I'll enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before,
Sheriff's getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.